Hey guys, welcome to KK Java Tutorials. In this video tutorial, we'll talk how to configure Hikari connection pool with Spring Boot 2. Right? So guys, you must have watched my Spring Boot 1 tutorials, and there we had discussed how to get the Hikari connection pool in Spring Boot 1. But when we talk about the Spring Boot 2, there is some enhancement happened. So those enhancement we are going to talk. So we will talk about all the concept related to, first of all, Hikari connection pool with respect to Spring Boot 2, and we'll see what's the difference between Spring Boot 1 and Spring Boot 2 with respect to Hikari connection pool, and finally we'll jump into the one practical example to clear all those concepts. Yeah, so let's start. So guys, first of all, I would like to tell you, in Spring Boot 2 release, default database connection pooling technology has been switched from Tomcat pool to Hikari connection pool. Yeah, so if you are working on Spring Boot 1, that means default database connection pooling mechanism is Tomcat pool, but from Spring 2 onwards, that's Hikari connection pool. Why? Because Hikari connection pool offers superior performance with respect to Tomcat pool, and that's the reason this enhancement happened. Right now, let's go to the next point. Next point says now Spring Boot 2 release a Spring Boot Starter JDBC, yeah, and a Spring Boot Starter Data JPA, right? So when you add a Spring Boot Starter JDBC or a Spring Boot Starter Data JPA in your class path when you are using a Spring Boot, then from Spring Boot 2 Hikari connection pool dependency you don't really need to add explicitly, right? But if you are using Spring Boot 1, then Hikari dependency you have to add in your pom.xml, right? Now if you are using Maven, right? But if you are using Spring 2, then Hikari connection pool is the default one, right? And you don't need to specify a Spring data source type property as Hikari data source because that's the default one from Spring Boot 2 onwards, right? Spring Boot basically prefers Hikari connection pool on the first place, then Tomcat pooling, and then commons DBCP2 on the basis of availability, right? So of course, Hikari connection pool as well as Tomcat connection pool, that's the connection pool basically we use in the production environment, but we do not use a common DBCP2 for production use, right? Mostly we use for the testing purpose, right? So that's the thing you have to keep in mind. All right. So let's talk about the Hikari connection pool dependency. So before using Hikari CP, we need to make sure that we have resolved the Hikari connection pool dependency. If you are using Maven, then you can use following dependency in your pom.xml, right? That's the dependency you have to add. But if you are using Spring Boot 1, then you need to add this dependency, right? If you are using Spring Boot 2, then really you don't need to add Hikari dependency in your pom.xml. That will be resolved by default. If your Spring Boot project depends on the Spring Boot Starter JDBC or Spring Boot Starter Data JPA, then Hikari connection pool will be added automatically in your class path. These things you have to keep in mind, right? Now, how to configure Hikari connection pool? So first of all, we enable Hikari connection pool by using a Spring data source type and assigning its fully qualified name of the connection pool implementation in the application.properties file, right? So if you are using a Spring Boot 1, then you really need to specify this property, right? So a Spring data source type, fully qualified name of Hikari data source. But if you are using a Spring 2, then you know this specifying this Hikari data source in your application.properties completely optional, right? Now we are going to talk about some frequently used configuration or setting properties in application.xml related to Hikari connection pool, right? So first of all, you need to keep in mind to configure Hikari a specific connection pool settings. Spring Boot provides a spring.datasource.hikari. This is the prefix, and asterisk can be replaced with the different properties in right. So let's look at the few properties. Like first of all, a Spring Boot data source Hikari, you can see in every property this is the prefix. Now first property I would like to talk connection timeout, and that I have specified as 20,000 milliseconds. So guys, this time is milliseconds, so if you convert into second, then 20,000 divided by 1000 means 20 seconds, right? So this is the maximum number of milliseconds that a client will wait for a connection from the connection pool, right? So guys, first of all, we need to understand why we require connection pool, right? So if you have a web-based application, then you might be getting multiple requests at a time, right? And let's say if you get the 500 requests at a time, then you need to basically configure database connection pool. Else what happened, driver manager data source, if you are using JDBC, then driver manager data source will provide you a single connection, right? So let's say 500 requests you get at a time for your web-based application, then and these request is going to execute in a different thread, right? So if one request gets the database connection, then 499 requests is waiting in the queue to get their chance, right? So to overcome this kind of problem, you need to configure database connection pool, right? And there you can specify the pool size, right? What is the max and mean pool size and all, right? So that let's say if you get the 500 requests at a time, and if you specify a pool size, let's say 400, right? Then 400 thread will get the separate database connection, and they will execute at a time. And once they are get done with the execution, or right, then those connection is going to return to the pool, means your connection is going to reuse, and remaining request which is waiting in the queue, right, they will get the chance to execute the your database call, right? So that's how basically you improve the performance of your application, right? So database connection pool is basically going to cast into the your connection pool, right? And that's the reason we require database connection pool, right? Now let's talk about the next property. Something is called minimum idle, and that I have given as 5. Guys, this property, of course, you need to set as per your application requirement. So here just randomly I have specified the value as 5. That's the minimum idle. What is the minimum idle? So look at the explanation. Minimum number of idle connection that is maintained in the Hikari connection pool, in the Hikari connection pool, right? So basically, even though if your application does not get any request from the client, still your Hikari connection pool is going to maintain at least minimum 5 connection in the pool. That's the property says. Now next, maximum pool size, right? So that's, I have given the 12. That's very basically a small counter, but in your real application, of course, you would like to set like 2000 or 5000 or something like that, right? That's all again depends on your application load, right? How many requests per day you are getting, and accordingly you can tweak this parameter, right? So this is nothing the maximum pool size. So your pool is going to basically maintain maximum 12 connection, right? Now next, idle timeout. So what does mean this? So I have basically set it as basically 300,000, right? So that means 300 seconds, right? So maximum amount of time in milliseconds that the connection is allowed to sit idle in the connection pool. Pretty simple, right? So this is the, 300 basically seconds your connection can sit idle, right? Now max lifetime, that's pretty much clear. You look at the explanation, this is pretty much clear. Then finally you have a auto commit, and that's I have set it as true, right? This is the basically auto commit. You know, in database auto commit feature is there, right? So by default this property is auto commit itself. If you want to make it false, then you can make it false using your Hikari connection pool configuration, right? So that's all about the basically concept. Now let's jump into the practical example. Yeah, so guys, I have already created one a Spring Boot JDBC Hikari connection pool example, right? So this is pretty much simple example in a Spring Boot 2, right? So let me start with the pom.xml. Look at here what dependency I have added in the pom.xml. So form.xml, first of all I have added a Spring Boot starter data JPA dependency. So that means once you add the Spring Boot starter data JPA or a Spring Boot starter data a Spring Boot starter data JPA or a Spring Boot starter data JPA, if you add, sorry, if you add a Spring Boot starter data JDBC or a Spring Boot starter data JPA, then automatically Hikari connection pool will be added in your class path, right? That's what we discussed in the slide, right? Here you can see in class path Hikari CP is added automatically. I haven't added Hikari connection pool dependency explicitly, right? Now as my application is going to use MySQL database, so MySQL connector Java dependency I have added, and this is the dependency which is added for to write a generative case. And finally we have one plugin which help us in a Spring Boot to generate a executable jar. That's it, dependency I have added, right? Pretty much clear. Now application properties, I have specified some database related property like database URL, driver class name, username, password. Of course this is specifying driver class name is completely optional. If you want, you can configure or you can remove, but specifying URL, username and password is mandatory. So here you can see JDBC is nothing but JDBC API, MySQL database we are using. So this literal represents MySQL, and localhost means MySQL server is running on the same machine. 3306 is the database port number, and test is my database where my my database table is available, right? This is employee table which is available in my database test schema. So here the database test schema employee table you can see, and currently I have 2 records, right? Now this is my Spring Bootstrap class, which is basically a starting point of our Spring Boot application. So here I get the application context object, and using this application context object I'm asking to the Spring container, give me the instance of this guy, employee.impl. If you look into the employee.impl, it is annotated as at repository, means bin is going to create, and that is going to maintain by the Spring container, right? Look at here, this is an interface which is going to implement by my repository class. Pretty simple. Now once I get the reference of employee dot, then just I'm making call to the fetch employee by ID. This is a pretty simple API which basically calls to my database, right? And here you can say I have a SQL query which basically try to basically select employee information based on the provided employee ID, and I'm making use of the JDBC template. Here you can see JDBC template, just I have auto wired, and I called query for object, and there I'm passing this query, and I have employee row mapper. I hope you understood what is employee row mapper. So when you select data from database, right, and if you have a custom object, right, so this is the basically one employee object, right, and basically this this is a map row is the life cycle method which is going to call by the Spring JDBC for each row, right, and each row we are fetching and putting into the employee object. That's it, right? So here we need to specify the employee row mapper which I have created, and just here passing the employee ID. For that you want to fetch the information. Pretty simple, and rest of the API is self-explanatory, right? So that's how we are making call to the database. If employee exists with the ID 1, then we get, and same we are printing over here, and here just we are printing we are fetching all employees information from the database, and just we are printing. Pretty simple. And then I have a update employee email by ID, so you can update employee email for a specified employee ID, and similarly you can delete employee by ID. So these two API I have commented. So just reading database API is basically uncommented. If I run, then it should run perfectly fine. Let me show you. So look at here. So this is the output of get employee by ID, and this is the output of get fetch employee fetch all employee fetch all employees, right? So here if you look into, guys, so by default Hikari connection pool is going to use by a Spring Boot application, because we have added a Spring Boot starter data JDBC, right? And that's the reason Spring Boot is using Hikari connection pool by default, right? If you are using a Spring Boot starter data JPA, then of course behavior would be the same. Hikari connection pool would be the default one, right? And if you look into the output in my doc class, what I have done, guys, So while calling this API fetch employee by ID, just I'm printing the data source complete qualified name. So what I have done, I am calling get JDBC template, and after that I call get data source and then get class, then get name. Then you would see this is printing my database connection pool qualified class name, right? If you want, optionally you can specify here database connection pool class name in this configuration file as well, right? So what I'm going to do, this is optional, completely optional. By default this is there. So again I'm telling you, this is guys optional, right? This is completely optional. But here main thing what I'm going to tell you guys, now we know already Spring Boot 2 is going to use Hikari connection pool by default, and if you want to tweak all the setting related to Hikari connection pool, then here you can write all those properties what we discussed in the slide. So here like the connection timeout, pool size, minimum idle connection, how many connections in idle situation pool is going to maintain, idle timeout, max lifetime, and auto commit, everything. And there are many more properties related to the Hikari connection pool that you can get on the Spring Boot official website, right? So these parameter of course you need to basically set as per your application requirement, right? So guys, I hope you understood how Hikari connection pool we can configure in case of a Spring Boot 2, right? So there is some difference if you are working with the Spring Boot 1, then configuring these things, the highlighted portion is mandatory. But if you are using a Spring 2, then this is optional, right? And if you are working with a Spring Boot 1, then Tomcat pool is the default one, but in case of a Spring Boot 2, Hikari is the default one, right? And if you are using a Spring Boot 1, then pom.xml Hikari dependency you have to add explicitly, right? But if you are working with Spring 2, you don't really need to add Hikari dependency explicitly. If you are working with a Spring Boot starter data JPA or a Spring Boot starter data JDBC, then implicitly it will download and add Hikari dependency in your class path. So that's all in this video, guys. Big thank you. And this source code I'm going to post on the GitHub, and GitHub link I will specify in the video description part. Thank you.